us out, like the guys over at Mock, the guys at Flux, the Bulls, the Kongs, all the people that have done the AMAs with us, answered all of our questions when it comes to technical things like Hypercent, Kitty Cat, Galena's. Really a strong community out there of people who are willing to support and excited to see projects being launched on Kadena. And we're so early in our phase and in the level in our place of adoption throughout the roadmap of crypto that I think it's a wonderful place to be launching a project like Docushield. And I'll go ahead and explain exactly why. We're gonna go over the current market and where our place is inside of that market, not only in crypto but in the global market as a whole, as far as document hosting goes. And we're going to go over how our enterprise solution fits into that market as well. Then we'll go into the KDL and Doc IDO, what makes us different, what we're doing about it, and some of the terms inside of investment. Then we're going to go over our tokenomics, followed by our 2022 roadmap. So what's going to be lying ahead? Something I'm really excited about presenting is our investor dashboard, and we'll have a little demo of what that's going to look like for everybody. We'll then go into meeting the team and talking about who we are, what our experience is, and what our role is going to be for each one of us within Docushield. And we'll have after that technical overview with our head developer, Abdur, who's on the call right now. We'll then go over our whitelist winners and have an open format Q&A. That's when we're going to go through all of the questions over that you've put on the sidebar or in the question answering, or the questions and answer section. And we're going to make sure that we hit every one of those questions and are able to give you an answer. If for some reason there's a question that maybe about something in development that we haven't gotten that far into, like when it comes to our enterprise solution or specifics about that, we may just say that, hey, I don't know right now, and we'll write those questions down and we'll follow up with everybody in an email to all our attendees, letting them know what the final answers to those were. Better than misspeak about anything, we want to be transparent. If we don't know something or haven't thought about it, you guys may be bringing up a good point. So ask those difficult questions that you want answers to. We welcome them, and we want everybody to benefit as much as they can from attending this webinar. Okay, cool. So we're going to get into the first section of it, the current market. So welcome. And again, big thank you to everybody who's here. Big thank you to the Flux team, the Kadena team, and to, of course, KD Launch for hosting this IDO for us. Now, the first thing I want to talk about with the current market and kind of where we're at and where our place fits. We're coming to a place where we want to engage people with adoption of blockchain technology on a global mass perspective, right? Now, that doesn't require, in our mind, everybody understanding what blockchain technology is, what the ledger is, what Kadena is, or Ethereum, or any of that stuff, really. I mean, when you think about how many people use email technology, I mean, most of the world is using it. How many people from that group understand what SMTP is? I mean, a lot less, right? So our goal is to kind of break down the learning curve that people seem to think that they have when engaging with blockchain technology. So our goal is to be able to provide the user a wallet without them needing to know what a wallet is, to be able to provide the type of security and finality that the blockchain gives us without having to know what the blockchain is. All that our users need to know is that they're utilizing a superior technology, that what they had before was flawed, just like what we had before Web 2 was flawed. Web 2 made things easier. Web 3 is going to come and make things more secure. And so this is really just a new era of document hosting and document security than has previously been engaged with. And I like to see it as the next logical step in evolution for document security and document hosting. So our whole thing to engage with this current market is to make it as seamless as possible. I firmly believe that the only way we're going to onboard people is providing these solutions that they're familiar with. So when they grab it in their hand and they go through the app, they have to feel like it's something they've done 100 times before, if not 1,000 times before, and they're ready to engage in it. They don't need to know, again, the underlying technology behind it necessarily. So right now, the global market for the document hosting vertical is at 70. Right now, it's at 83.41 billion. That's in 2022. In 2021, we were at $70.19 billion. That in a 1 year jump is already pretty substantial. Now, in 2029, we're projected to be at 376.3 billion. So that's over a 5x in 10 years. And that market is just growing, and it's not showing any stopping doing that. And you guys can look up these metrics yourself as well, plus a lot more. If you look up Fortune Business Insights, where they have just tons of consumer data and make it easy to provide stuff like this. So within that group of people, why is there so much consumption? So the growth is pretty much revolved around the use of higher technologies such as 4K, 8K resolution. They need somewhere to store it. Their personal computer is not providing enough space, so that all goes up and is hosted on the cloud. AI technology consumes and produces tons of data, and all that data needs somewhere to live. It doesn't make sense to have servers and servers worth of data that could go down and be lost. They host it on the cloud, right? Self-driving cars, same thing, tons of data. Internet of Things provides tons of data. Business transitions to remote working is another reason that we see kind of the personal use case to the business use case really being utilized because a lot more people are just working from home now. And the need to scale is being supported. So, Amazon does a great job of scaling, but when their network goes down, you're down, right? There's no, if Amazon's down, your website's down. So that's the downfall of centralization. I'm sure as we're all pretty well aware of, and that's one of the problems. Another problem is that governments are extremely concerned over the loss of control over the data that they have. So we're having to take our precious data and hand it over to these companies that we don't know. We don't know who they are. We don't really know who there has access. And when you have a centralized network, like I said before, when that's down, everything's down. And the tech isn't horrible, but there's still people in the middle that have access to this. So most data breaches that you'll read about, and there's hundreds of them. One website that I like to reference is haveibeenpwned.com, where you type in your email and it tells you all the different data breaches that email address is associated with. So most of these data breaches, when you do the research, comes from internal employees having access to people's data. And they know from working in the industry how valuable that data is. And, they use it for their, own advantage. So what blockchain does, what our solution does, is really solve all of these problems, especially not putting those keys or not putting that control inside of anybody else's hands but the users. And I think the users are going to feel secure knowing that us over here at Docushield cannot go into the server and decrypt anything that's been on there. Everything there is only decipherable and decrypted by the person who uploaded it or who owns the keys to that account. Again, most of these people aren't going to even know what keys are or anything like that. But all they need to know is they're the ones that uploaded it. They're the only ones that are ever going to be able to decrypt that information. So the solution, again, decentralized, scalable, hands-off solution with no master keys for anybody here at Docushield or anybody else, like pretty much at all. All access is recorded on the blockchain. So if there is some concern about who's accessing that data, you're going to be able to go back, take a look at the ledger and see, okay, well, there was this transaction that happened. Why? Because it was given access to by such and such person. So, there's somebody I can hear on there. So I don't know if one of our staff probably just
Ryan, can you go ahead and mute?
Oh, Ryan, you got sound now. That's good. So, all right, we were having problems with Ryan's sound earlier, so that's a good thing. So all access recorded on the blockchain, and this is something that the no master keys and the hands-off solution is something I've seen a lot of questions so far about. our enterprise solution. And this is something that people have already come to me very concerned about is, hey, Adrian, I see your Docushield solution. Tell me more about it, how it'll work better for our business. And right away, their main thing is they have data that's so sensitive, no matter what it is, they don't want anybody having access to it. And I mean, people that are looking for these solutions is usually because they've experienced a data breach. And I mean, the metrics I should have put up on here, but it's something like ridiculous. Like over 80% of people have had their passwords or their data exploited. So this is a huge flaw in the current market, and it's somewhere that we're looking in. It's that we're going to solve with our solution. So the metrics of the industry and how we're going to be financially stable, not only stable, but able to thrive in the current market conditions is something I want to go over next. So currently, the average user stores about 500 gigabytes worth of data on the cloud, right? And they're paying for that monthly, or else they lose access to it. So if you're having a tough time and you cannot afford to pay for your upgraded Google Drive, you can't afford to pay for whatever solution you're using, all of a sudden, all this precious data is not available to you any longer, probably at a point when you need it the most. And that's one of the things that kind of irked me specifically about that, because we've all fallen apart upon hard times and had to decide, okay, am I going to cut Netflix? Am I going to cut Dropbox? What's going to fit in my budget? But I mean, having to decide whether or not you're going to cut access to these files that potentially mean the world to you is not something that we wanted to put in our business model. So with the current rate, the rate of data storage on the market is going from a little bit under a cent, so 0.007 of a penny, to 2 cents per gigabyte per month is the average of what people are paying. Now, the average for 100 gigabytes is about $2 per month, and 1 terabyte runs about $120 a year, right? So with us, we're going to be charging users to upload their documents by the gigabyte. And once they have that uploaded, it's secured and it's stored on the cloud. So we're starting off just looking at a rate of about 25 to 50 cents per gigabyte. It may be a little higher, I mean, or lower depending on where we're at, but we're looking at that range of 25 leading towards 50 cents a gigabyte. So at 25 cents a gigabyte, we're getting $125 lifetime value out of a user if they upload 500 gigabytes worth of data. Now, if they upload 50 cents worth of data, or 500 gigabytes worth of data at 50 cents a gigabyte, we're getting a lifetime value out of each user of $250. And kind of to put it into perspective about where the competition is and the market where it's at, File Cloud, probably on the smaller side of a solution that people know about, but still a profitable business, has about 1 million users, right? OwnCloud, who is a little bit more known and renowned, has about 100 million users. And then the big boy in the personal space anyway is Dropbox with 700 million users, and that brings them in about $2.15 billion a year with this subscription model, right? Now, with our model for Docushield, we, with 1 million users over the lifetime, would be bringing in $250 million, right? And this is just with the personal cloud storage solution. With 100 million users, we'd be bringing in about $25 billion. And with 700 million users, if we were to match the user base of Dropbox, we'd be bringing in $175 billion. And when you look at it long term, and users are paying by the gigabyte and they're storing 500 gigabytes over the span of time, this actually ends up being a lot more cost-effective solution for our end user, while still allowing us to make a considerable profit on the technology that we're providing. And that profit's going to allow us to expand. And the biggest area of expansion for us after we launch our first product is going to be our enterprise solution. That's going to include my vision is to have a whole contained kind of version of Google Suite and something that connects to their network as well. So I'm a user of the Shift app on it's a software that you download, right? And it has this containerized feel to it where everything that you're working on lives in this container. Now, with having a software like that, we're really able to control the environment that users are working inside of, and the plugins that are going into that environment. So that's going to be one big thing about our enterprise solution is it's going to be a software that lives on its own on the user's network, connects to these different machines, and has a beautiful graphical user interface that allows users to put plugins in as well, and allows users to really easily control. So it's like I was saying earlier, the adoption of blockchain technology is going to come with easily interfacing with our Web 2 version of things. The usability that Web 2 brought to us isn't going to go anywhere, right? So we need to take the underlying technology that we all love and integrate that with the graphical interfaces and the easy to use solutions that everyone in the world now loves and uses. And that's the main goal of what we're bringing with our first solution. And Docushield, the first solution or the first round of what we're doing is really to get us known to the entire world as a solution that is the next level of document security. After that, our real main focus and where we can make everything very profitable for all of the shareholders or all of the coin holders, or token holders, is going to be with adopting and onboarding those enterprise solutions. And we've been talking to a lot of people about some of the things that are required when talking about an enterprise solution, such as HIPAA and their terms of things like data localization. So even though we're on a decentralized network, HIPAA requires, which is in the United States, it's the requirements to use and transmit medical data is what HIPAA is in a nutshell. So they're pretty much saying that none of the data here can leave the United States. But so when you're distributing this throughout an entire global network, that raises a red flag. But we're partnered up with people like Flux who have already solved that issue of maintaining decentralization as far as where the data travels, but also knowing that it's only going to hit these localized nodes. And so those geniuses over there already helped us with that. I know that they handle a good amount of high-end business accounts with their solution. So it's something they've already had to think about early on, and we're going to have the luxury of being able to tap into with our software as well. So again, if there's any questions on anything or you want any more details on any of that stuff before we move on to the next section, you can go ahead and throw that inside the Q&A over on the side toolbar or on the sidebar, and we'll answer that at the end of the presentation. So the next thing I want to get into is the KD launch and Docushield IDO. What makes this different than everything else, and how we're going to be approaching things. So we're going to be doing 2 rounds for our IDO, and these 2 rounds are going to be 3 months apart, right? So our first one is going to be starting very soon. I'm going to let KD launch announce the exact dates. So we'll wait for them, but it's going to be happening really soon. And we're really excited actually to see the KD swap IDO take place. I know that's going to be coming really quick. So it's something to look forward to. Now, when you purchase the coins or the tokens during this first round, we're going to run a second round 3 months later. So that's slated to happen by the end of Q2, or excuse me, the end of Q3. And in between that time, the coins that are purchased or the tokens that are purchased are going to be staked or vested, whatever terminology you want to use, for those 3 months, while gaining an APR of 12%. So we know that vesting isn't the ideal scenario for everybody. So we want to reward you guys for working with us, and also you'll be getting the tokens at a cheaper price and be getting more of them. Now that 12% isn't something we're just pulling out of thin air, and it's gonna take away from the value of the tokens themselves. That's something we've actually built into the tokenomics to make sense of everything. So when you guys invest your KDA inside of our project, a huge thing with us, being a privacy solution and being someone that you guys are going to be trusting your most precious items, memories, and documents with, we want to be just as equally sharing with what we do to you guys. So we're going to break down a little bit of where the allocations of the KDA that we're going to be taking in goes. And then when we get to the investor dashboard, we're going to talk about how you guys are going to be able to also monitor that. So one of the things I participated in a fair share of ICOs myself, starting back in 2017, and there was a ton of projects out then that had just vanished overnight, or once they got the money, we never really seen much. Like, what are they doing with it? I don't see any marketing. I don't see any development. What's happening? So we want to be very transparent about that. And so our first round of IDO, we're going to be providing, instead of 20, actually, this was a number that we just refined. We're going to be providing 25% of whatever we raise towards liquidity. And again, yeah, that needs to be edited. It's been a long couple days of solidifying all these numbers to a point where they make sense and they're ready to go to market. So 25% of the total KDA that we raise in this first round of our IDO is going to be reserved in its own wallet to provide ongoing liquidity to DEXs within the Cadena ecosystem. So a quarter of that money, of that KDA, you're going to be able to see locked away. The next portion of it, the next 25%, is going to be going towards marketing and getting the name out there, not only in the crypto community. Of course, it's going to be the base and our main supporters, and it's going to be the people that we want beta testing our product when that time comes, which is going to be very soon. And then 20% is going to go towards business operations. The dev operations is going to be another 15. 20%, those will kind of flow in between each other because business ops and dev ops run very tightly together. Ecosystem investments are going to be 10% of the allocation. So things like supporting other people's projects, coming in and running a node for Flux to add to the stability of their network is going to be part of helping maintain our ecosystem. And driving investments into other projects that we see potential in that are just being launched. We're going to be able to take the love that you gave to us and reciprocate that and show it to whoever else, in the ecosystem that we feel is going to be extremely valuable. 7.5% is going to go to our advisors, consultants, and partnerships. So, our team, we're not going to pretend to know everything. There are people who have been in blockchain technology, who have been studying tokenomics and been doing this professionally for a lot longer than we have. So we're going to, of course, when they come and assist us, when we run into a problem or when we have questions, they're going to get compensated. And that's what that wallet is going to be for. And again, this isn't something that we're planning on spending immediately. This money may sit in the wallet for a couple of years until we run into a problem where we need that. But this whole time, you're going to be having access to this investor dashboard that we're going to go ahead and go over. And then 2.5% of the KDA is going to go into our emergency reserves. In the event of a horrible market crash or something extreme happens, we know we have a little bit of backup, and we're going to be able to share the information behind all of the transactions that are taking place and everything with you guys as well. Same thing with IDO number 2. There's a certain allocation for every step of what we're doing. So liquidity, marketing, business and DevOps, ecosystem investments, advisors, consultants, partnerships, and reserves. So same thing for IDO 2, depending on where when we start, really spending on marketing and on, developmental assistance and on development of our enterprise solution, these numbers over on number 2 may shift around because we're discovering that we don't need that much in a certain area, but we do need it in another area. But this is the model that we're going with to start. And that brings us over to our tokenomics. Excuse me a second. Getting a little dry mouth over here. Our tokenomics section. one of those things that I had to take the deep dive into when really thinking about this, because we're creating this this micro economy, and it's something we really had to pay attention to, and we feel that is something that we've worked out pretty well, and we would love your feedback on that. So 1 billion doc tokens will be minted in total. Now 500 million of those are going to be released in 2022, and then 50 million are going to be released every year for the next 10 years. The yearly release allocations will be voted on in a community DAO to all of our users. So I've loved the idea of a DAO ever since it's been introduced to me, putting control of certain decisions and thing to the people that form your community and to the people that really matter most to you. So those people that believe in your products. So all of our holders, every year before we release this, we're going to introduce a community vote on what's going to happen with those 50 million tokens that are going to be released for that year. So whether or not we're going to provide a poll that's going to say, here's options A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And what do you think makes the most sense? So one of the options may be to, we don't need those in the ecosystem right now. Let's lock those away and maybe release them later. We'll take another vote on what we do with those tokens a year from now, or whatever we agree upon. So in my mind right now, always wanted to involve the community on what we're doing and the decisions that we're making. And that's going to be one of the clear-cut ways that we're going to be able to see what the consensus is out there and what it looks like from your guys' perspective on where we really need to allocate those tokens. So I know we've had a lot of questions about how the DAO is going to work into our structure as a company and as a solution. And that is the first way. I'm hoping that we get ideas and we're able to implement it in more ways than one. But this is the definite thing that we are set on, is with the token release, we want your feedback on where exactly those tokens are going to go and how they're going to be utilized. So for IDO number 1, the Kitty Launch IDO, we're going to be releasing 140 million doc tokens. These tokens will be staked in between rounds for 3 months at a 12% APR. During IDO number 2, we are going to introduce another 140 million doc tokens that are up for grabs. 60 million of those we're going to release with our liquidity that we've taken. So remember, we said we're going to put 25% of KDA from each round is going to go towards liquidity. We're going to pair that up with the 60 million doc that we have right here and release that into different dexes. So that doesn't mean it's all going to be released at once into a single dex or into the decks that are in existence now. It could be that that gets trickled down, and it really depends on where the market cap of the Kadena ecosystem is in 3 months when we release this. Does it make sense to release all of these at once? Do we need that much liquidity to prevent any extreme volatility? That's yet to be answered, because in 3 months the market could be who knows where, right? 50 million of those tokens are going to be dedicated to node operations within our network. So to kind of break down what I mean and what that means. So for our node operations right now, at a bare minimum, to run the 3 private networks that we're going to be utilizing, along with Kuro, which is going to add to this if we can implement Kuro in the way that we envision from the start. So we're going to have 3 separate networks of IPFS servers, and each of those networks needs a bare minimum of 6 participants in order to function, right? So we are unsure of how many people are going to be interested in running a node, right? So from the get-go, we're going to be reaching out to people within the community that we've already kind of talked to, like the guys over at Mock, the guys over at Flux, and say, here, we're going to give you these tokens under the agreement that you keep them staked and you keep operating this node for this amount of years. And we're looking anywhere between the node interests, the interest in the community for running nodes, we're looking at anywhere from 2 to 5 years. where these people that we're allocating these tokens to for staking are going to be participants of our network. And that's just to make sure that if everybody else pulls out and dumps all their tokens, that our network's still going to remain stable on the agreement that we have with our partners who are going to be handling these node operations. And the benefit for them is they get to keep the APR that they're going to be getting for maintaining these nodes. And they're also, once that agreed upon period is up, they're going to be able to keep all of the tokens that they initially were allocated for the staking, right? And the way we're going to be able to ensure that is something, again, that really only can be done natively through the Kadena, through Pact, is we're going to set up multi-sig wallets to say, okay, cool. If you want to unstake this, then you and I both have to sign the multi-sig and allow them to be unstaked. So again, taking that technology that Pact and that Kadena is providing and utilizing in a way that makes sense, for our solution here. Now, 30 million of the tokens are going to be placed in the rewards vault. That's just in case we've miscalculated how much rewards are needed, to provide the rewards for all of the people that are there. The reserves vault is, in case there's been any miscalculation in how people are rewarded. If we feel like we're running out of DOC tokens to provide rewards for people, and there's still 6 months until there's going to be another release or allocation of tokens because they come out once a year, then we could utilize some of the reserves to maintain those constant APRs for the people who are helping maintain our network and keep the whole thing running, right? 30 million is going to be allocated for bug bounties, a very important thing when it comes to a software that we're building. We want as many people as we can to come in and try to break our solution. Our motto is pretty much break it now so we can make it better, right? That's all we can do. And there hopefully will be things that are found by the community. That way we can get over that hurdle immediately, right? So the way to do that is to incentivize, and we're not going to only be reaching out to people within Kadena, coders that know Pact. We're going to be reaching out to the global community and saying, hey, we got this much up for grabs if you can break our system. And I guarantee that there are people that, since we're going to be, competition to some of the big boys out there, that there's going to be a lot of interest in breaking our system. And the sooner the better, because if there is a flaw in the way we see things, we're going to be able to pinpoint that, fix it, and put out something that's better than we initially had. So I like to see any type of downfall that happens, without repercussions that go back to the community. It's going to be an area where we can grow and we can make our software stronger, and it's going to help us with the longevity of what we're doing here. So that brings us now to our 2022 roadmap and, what we have envisioned for the rest of this year. Here we go. So Q2, we announced IDO number 1, the team doxing and introduction. We're going to be doing a part of that right now. You guys are going to get a chance to meet our core team and hear a little bit from each one of us. Our technical white paper drop is coming next. So I know that our first white paper explains kind of what we're about, how things are going to function on a high level. Our next paper that we're going to release, along with a revised white paper to update our tokenomics and things like that, along with that is going to come our technical white paper. So that's going to go deep into, the underlinings of our security and things that, when I presented this idea to Abdur, our head developer, I knew the puzzle pieces fit together, but when it came to coding from a security standpoint, that's all I knew. I knew that the pieces would fit together. I didn't know exactly what how, right? So I found the guy who was, in my mind, perfect for the job and does know how. And he's been spending his time with us, putting all those puzzle pieces together in a way that fit and has improved upon, the initial presentation immensely. So we'll be releasing a technical white paper with all of the finer details of those from people who are a lot smarter than myself who wrote the first white paper. So I'm honestly looking forward to that. And just the more I hear from Abdur about where we're going with the product and how this vision that is now being, put down and coded in a real life scenario just gets me really worked up about the product. And I'm glad he's here to be able to tell you guys a little bit more as well. Then after we do the technical white paper drop, we're going to bring out our tech space. So that's going to be a Twitter space. We're calling it a tech space because after the technical white paper's out, we want to hear all your questions in regards to that paper and anything that may not make sense to you or you need further clarification on. We want to be there to answer those questions. So, a couple days after, we'll give you guys time to absorb that information. A couple days after, we'll run that tech space and we'll take all of your questions and we'll answer those. After that, we're going to release our investor dashboard, which is going to be something that we kind of preview with you guys today. And we're also going to have our MVP release that's slated as well for Q2. We have our IDO completion and token staking that'll happen. And then our MVP beta testing with the closed group is also going to be happening here in Q2. So we're very excited to present something to you, to be able to present something to you guys and get your feedback. It is going to be, with a closed group of people, and we'll start taking signups and announce to everybody in the space when that'll be. In Q3, we're going to be whitelisting our node operators within the ecosystem, and that's something we've already kind of begun doing while researching the node program in total. We're going to be onboarding node operators in our beta. So we're going to be able to, instead of having this centralized system, because our MVP is going to rely solely on, us and Flux. So that's not very decentralized. So in Q3, after our MVP, before our beta, we're going to start onboarding our greater network, right? So that when we release our beta, which is the next step, release of the updated beta app and do our beta launch, we are already on that road to the greater decentralization of the data and growing of our networks. We're going to launch our node networks, but a very important thing about this right here is the release of our updated app in our beta launch. So I don't know how many people have worked in software, but it's an ever-growing and it's something that never ends. I mean, I'm sure that the guys over at Google have not stopped working on Gmail since it's been introduced. And that's how we're thinking about this. Like, some Docushield is going to be something that's going to be released. It's going to be upgraded. It's going to be updated. There's going to be patches. There's going to be progression throughout as long as we're in existence, we're going to keep making this product better. So the first step is going to be releasing the updated app. We're going to gather all of the feedback from our MVP release, fix whatever we need to fix, whether it's the user experience or a feature that doesn't operate the way that you would like. And then we're going to re-release that and gather feedback again. At that same time, we're going to be launching our node networks with the people that we've onboarded, and we're going to begin our pre-launch marketing initiative. Now, this marketing initiative is going to be where we start reaching people outside of our crypto community and start, bringing in the masses of people. So, things like running Facebook ads that wouldn't make too much sense right now for us will be when we get to that point where we're ready to release. So we want to everyone. So we want to start building up the hype in the community and kind of introduce ourselves to everybody else outside of the space, not even outside of Cadena, outside of the blockchain community as a whole. We're going to host a bug bounty. This is going to be another one that's going out to the greater community. We're talking about, please come over and break our software. That way we can learn from it, and here's your incentive for doing so. And if you can't, then that's even better for us in a way. But yeah, so that'll be the bug bounty portion. After the bug bounty and we feel like everything's tied down and solid, we're going to be hosting a hackathon. So we know a lot of people have ideas for what they could see in the software, or what would be a great feature. We're going to invite you guys to come in and help us build that. And we could find another great addition to our team throughout doing hosting the hackathon and things like that. That'll be something that'll be ongoing as well. Always trying to scout out the next best idea and another amazing coder or addition to our dev team. The way that's going to work too is once we build the core of the software, we're going to allow for plugins, and these plugins are going to have to be coded, and they're going to have to operate with us in a very specific way to make it as secure as possible. So that is something that will be a part of the hackathon, is people coming in, introducing their idea for a plugin to our core software or to our core app, and seeing what we can get out of that. And that's something that excites me, because people have these amazing ideas they throw at us all the time. After that, we're going to have IDO number 2, and as soon as that's completed, which is going to be within those 3 months, we're going to release the tokens from IDO number 1 and number 2, and we're also going to provide all of the tokens for the APR for the people that have been staking. We're going to provide that to them as well, and we're going to release all of that liquidity to DEX. So that's 25% of the KDA that we raise in both rounds, and then also I believe it was 60 million tokens. Sorry if I'm wrong. We've been playing with the numbers to get them solidified and make them what we see as perfect. But 60 million, we're going to match up with our doc and release that into the ecosystem and the DEXs that are around to provide stability for the token. In Q4, we're right in the beginning is what we're envisioning. We're going to have version 1 of our mainnet app launched. And this is where we release it to the app stores. We put it pretty much in front of everybody. And this is a reason why in our IDO number 2, we are raising more money and allocating more money towards marketing. Because to really compete with the big boys that are out there, Google Drive, Dropbox, things like that, it's going to take a good amount of capital. And once people see the benefit of using our solution, I think it's going to be a no-brainer. It's all going to be about the approach that we take with them and the learning curve behind the software for those people. So again, our goal is to provide blockchain technology with a user interface that they're already used to, that they are, that doesn't feel any different than anything else that they've been using the past 10 years. Just the knowledge that it's more secure. So that's our mainstream marketing initiative. We're going to begin development on core plugins and whitelist some of our marketplace devs who are going to be adding on to that. So there's going to be specifics that are going to need to be met in order to put any type of plugin in our marketplace and be thoroughly tested. And then after that, it's full on with the development of our enterprise solution. And that is really where we get into, huge profits and huge just big deals and contracts that last, not only contracts that last, spans of years, 5, 10-year contracts where we're controlling huge amounts of data for companies. And that's why I want to introduce part of our team and, the people who are going to be heading that initiative for us as well. So before we get to the team introductions, I want to go over the investor dashboard. And this is something that really excites me because, like I said, I've been investing in what was ICOs since 2017. And every time I would be like, why don't they just show us what is going on with the money? Now, I come from a business background, and currently I'm partnered at a restaurant. And every quarter, a restaurant bar, every quarter, we go and we look at, literally, we sit down and look at every single transaction that happens and make sure that there's a logical explanation between every one of those transactions. We look at all of the inventory that we have, which Kalina does an amazing job of keeping track of, which is very tedious and very time consuming. So she's amazing at those things, and you'll meet her in a second. But we go over every single aspect of the finances of the business to make sure that our money is being put to good use and that we're going to remain operable, for the future. And so it never made sense to me that when we have people investing in a crypto project, why we don't allow the same transparency, right? So that takes us back to these allocations that I presented, right? The allocations of the DOC token. We're saying that we're going to put 50 million in for node ops. We're saying that we're going to put 30 million in the rewards vault. A lot of people make these promises and they end up being something that is just theoretical or something that you never really get to see. And you wonder why the projects are gone in 10 years. I'd say out of all the projects that I've invested in, one or two of them are still around and have yet to really even break, what we've wanted or what I've thought, because I'm a long-term holder. Some of them have mooned and then went back down, and I could have been smarter about pulling out profits, but I believe in the technology. So our solution to kind of make sure, hold ourselves accountable, and be able to put power in the community to see where everything is to provide a dashboard that makes that easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and switch from my screen. We're going over to our investor dashboard. And this is a rough draft of what it's going to look like, but I think it's going to be able to tell the tale pretty well. And right now, whoever's familiar with the Block Explorer on Cadena knows that you can't view accounts information such as balances without first logging into Chainweaver. So we're using Flux wallets right now as an example, but we are gonna put our team to utilizing the API and finding a way where we're going to be able to display our Chainweaver wallets or our Cadena wallets here in the same manner that we're doing. And it shouldn't be too difficult. It's just something with so much other development going on that is right now, something we need to look into, and it's on the whiteboard. So, but this is how it's going to look. The structure is going to remain the same. We telling you that we're going to allocate a certain amount to business operations, a certain amount to liquidity. We want you to be able to come in here, take a look, see what the balance is, what the address is, what the balance is on that address, and all of the different transactions that are taking place from that wallet, either going out or coming in. So same thing with every section. So liquidity, marketing, development operations, ecosystem investments, advisors and consultants, our reserves, and our rewards vault. So all of those things are going to be placed in separate wallets. And all of those transactions we want to make visible, not only during our IDO process, but for the lifespan of the project. It's something that I believe is, just standard in the regular business world, and for some reason has been overlooked in crypto. And we just say, hey, take my money and please build something. We want you to have every confidence in what we're doing, and there's no better way to do that than to transparently show you exactly what's going on, right? So if there is any problem or any issue that you see, you'll say, hey, what's going on with this transaction right here? Why did they withdraw, $10,000 worth of Cadena? What from the reserves? What happened? Well, there's going to be a support center where you'll be able to put a ticket in, and that ticket will come to our team, to myself and Kalina, who's going to be keeping most of the books for us, or pretty much all of the books for us. And we're going to be able to say, okay, well, this transaction right here is because of this. And, we put everything in QuickBooks and our invoicing software. This is how you run a successful business, is by keeping track of every single thing. So for every one of these items, you'll be able to just, if you're just curious, hey, what was that for? Submit the ticket. We'll go ahead and send you, our ledger and what that was applied to. So again, that's not only going to be with something with the KDA allocations, that's also going to be with the doc token. And we're going to have the same setup right here as we do, except you'll switch over to the doc tracking tab and be able to see all of our different wallets that are holding doc, and the balances of those, and the transactions going in and out from those wallets. Again, just to put everybody's mind at ease, and to it even helps us, see from a high level standpoint. We get so buried in, the day-to-day operations of the business. Now we can take a step back and look at all of our different wallets and say, okay, from a bird's eye view, how are the finances looking? Okay, so now going back to our slideshow, who we are. My name is Adrian Marquez. I am the founder and the designer of the system that has been put together right here. I'm from Santa Ana, California. My tech experience started at a company here in Irvine called Mindfire Inc. It's a marketing automation platform. I still have contact with them today. They're an awesome company that uh, provide great tools in a business to business environment. I then stretched out after my years there to do independent marketing, and that is, I had a good couple years working with business, with banks, different financial institutions, different colleges, in doing enrollment campaigns, a lot of direct mail, a lot of mass email, and a lot of trickle down. Excuse me, a lot of drip marketing scenarios, and that really prepped me for what we're doing now and helping get masses onboarded. And then after that, for a good what now I think we're coming up on our 4-year celebration, but a good 4 years spent at Next Round Bar and Grill, where I took the deep dive into the hospitality industry and just got engaged and submerged in running a restaurant. And now we're at a point where luckily I was able to take a step back with the birth of my first son, and during that step back and that time off for bonding, I was able to re-engage with crypto and the background in development and have this project come to fruition. So that's where that comes from. Then we also have Abdur Rahman, who is our lead developer. He currently resides in Pakistan, and he has a long history of successful products that are on the market. He has a master's in computer science, and one of the coolest things I think that he's developed has been a project called Quick Card, and he'll also be able to tell you about some of the other projects that he's put together. I'm going to go ahead and Kalina, can you give the controls to Abdur so he can say a quick hello?
Yep, one sec.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Kalina. Thank you, Adrian. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the webinar. I'm Abdur. I'm the lead developer here at Docushield. I have been working in the tech industry for about 10 years now, and I have worked on a range of projects from image processing side of technical things to signal processing and parallel processing. And then I got into web and mobile application full stack development about 5 years ago. I have led multiple teams to solve complex problems for the different use cases. I have been working on blockchain for about 4 years now as a developer. So the most notable project that I have worked on, as Adrian introduced me, is the Quick Card. So the guys that have joined us from the States might have heard about Quick Card. It's actually a cashless solution, B2B and B2C solution in the States that actually uses blockchain on its backend for its transactions. Other than that, I have been working for a couple of years on decentralized data communities. I truly believe that the kind of user-generated data is floating around and exchanging hands, and it should belong to the users. And that was the main my reason that I joined Docushield in the first place, that I truly believe in the decentralized data communities and decentralized ecosystems, that the data and the users, it needs to be secured, and the ownership should belong to the end user that it actually produces. So I have a master's in computer science with a major in computational intelligence. I'm a published researcher in the field of machine learning with a use case on signal processing. So I mean, the tech domain has been my passion, you can say, from the really start. So what got me into tech was one word: algorithm. So I love algorithm. I love creating new algorithms, playing with the old ones and trying to break the older ones. So I think what we are doing here at Docushield, it's something that is the future. We are going to, as we are stepping into the Web 3.0, I think this is going to create some kind of a standard for the Web 3.0. Once it's more streamlined. So yeah, I mean, we're really excited here at Docushield, and I think the kind of excitement that we have in the Docushield team, it is a must to deliver a great product. So yeah, we're really excited, and we hear and see that you guys are also really excited about the product, and yeah, we're gonna deliver on promises soon.
Thank you, Abdur. I appreciate that, and he's going to be joining us again in a little bit for our technical overview. But I appreciate that, and we'll go ahead and keep going on with the rest of the team. So I'm going to go back to my slides here and present. Kalina, if you can pass controls back. Let me share my screen.
I already did. You're good.
Oh, perfect. So now we'll get on to the rest of the team. There is Kalina. She's our administrative organizer and professional in keeping everything in line. I really do mean that. She has been a lifesaver at the business that we currently have, and she will continue to do so. And I know just how excited she is about blockchain technology and just being at the forefront of something great like this before even mass adoption. Michael Chavez, who is our organizational officer, and also somebody I've worked with for years on end, and somebody who really, I can say, tells things how they are, calls them how he sees them, and he's going to be the person that is really enforcing the deadlines on people and making sure that all of our projects hit what they need to be, the QA is done the way it needs to be. Ryan Estes is just joined us now as our product communications officer. He's going to be along with Jules, taking a consensus from the community. But Ryan, more importantly, also is going to be in charge of making those connections with the enterprise world, and getting our name out there, talking to the bigger companies and solutions, and partnering up with them. Jules is our marketing and community organizer, so he's already done a great job of manning up and setting up everything from our Discord to a few of our graphics and videos and things like that. And he's going to continue to, I know, do a great job, and he's already been both of them have been an amazing addition to the team, and have brought a lot of value to Docushield as well. So Kalina, if you can go ahead, and we'll run through the introductions. And I don't know if sure you're all going to talk. I don't know who wants to go on camera, but whoever wants to, we can go for it. And Kalina, we'll start with yourself.
Hey guys, my name's Kalina. I'm happy to be here. Super excited to be on this team with Docushield. I've been in management for the past 10 years or so. So I got a good hand in keeping everything organized, and I've worked with Adrian for the past 3 to 4 years. So I know how to keep him organized and keep everything on a good, nice flow. I've also worked with Michael as well. So we have a really nice, solid foundation as far as our team goes. If you need anything at all, please reach out. If you can't get a hold of Adrian, I definitely can. So I'll go ahead and pass that on to Michael now.
Hi guys, my name is Michael Chavez, and I love Kadena and Docushield. Me and Adrian had a dream of building something on Kadena right when Back Alley had their IDO. I really thought it was possible, and we had a couple ideas. And then he pulled out this one, and I think it's the best thing ever. So I just finished my technical school for HVAC, but I think I'm gonna keep riding with Docushield because I really believe of what we're doing here and the community behind us. So thank you guys for everything.
And yeah, no problem. Just to put a little context behind the relationship with Michael, we've worked at a few different places together. We were both a while ago lifeguards together. Then he worked with me over at the bar, and then now I love people with good work ethic, and I'm a firm believer that in anything you want to learn, you're going to be able to. And when you put your mind into any situation, that you're going to come out, if you put the manpower in and you put the time in, you're going to come out victorious. And Michael's one of those people that does what needs to be done to accomplish any task that's presented in front of him. And so just wanted to
Thank
give
you,
Mikey a little
Adrian.
praise there because I love all the hard work he's done over the last years with me, and look forward to all of the stuff that we're going to accomplish together as well. Kalina, go ahead and take over again.
All right, we're gonna go pass that on to Jules.
Yep. Hey everyone. So I'm Jules and I'm from France and I've lived in France and Canada, and right now I'm studying in Canada. So I'm currently pursuing a major in computer science and a minor in project management. I've been involved and passionate about Web3 and blockchain-based solutions for the masses since early 2020, and I've had experience in startups, my own ventures, and businesses from an early age. I met Adrian on Twitter, and I've been helping him and Mike set up the Discord and doing some marketing and helping here and there. And I look forward to bringing everything I've learned and will learn here at Docushield. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jules. Appreciate it. And yeah, he undersells himself. He's been a huge help with things that we're doing. He's always running ideas by me. And again, work ethic is a thing that I look for in people. And because it's a constant grind, and Mikey and Kalina know that I'm up at all hours, all the time, working, whether it's in the bar or whether it's, on Docushield. Now it's been 100% on Docushield. But and Jules is one of those people that I can contact at any time of day, and he's responsive, and he has a lot of great input, and whatever I ask him to do gets accomplished. So thank you, Jules. Ryan, I know has been having issues with his computer. Ryan, maybe Kalina, we can try passing the camera or the at least the microphone to Ryan.
Yeah, give me one sec.
Yeah, and for a little bit of background, go to this webinar solution doesn't work very well with Macs, so that I believe is the underlying issue.
Oh, he disappeared. Where'd he go?
Yeah. Not being a Mac user, I'm gonna blame it on Mac on the computer there. So okay, well,
Ryan,
right?
Hello.
There we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you.
Are you still in the presentation?
Yeah. We're here. You're good, man. You're right in time. Just say a few words about yourself. I don't know if we're still. Yeah, it looks like he's still cutting in and out. On our end, he's appearing and disappearing.
Hold on, let me make him a attendee. Maybe that'll help. And allow to talk. It's connecting. Ryan, can you say something? Testing.
It's okay. The community is gonna definitely have a chance to meet Ryan. A lot of you guys have already interacted with him on Twitter and in the in our Discord and the Kadena Kong's Discord, and he's definitely around. And when we have our webpage up, I believe it might already be up on KD Launch. You'll be able to read further bios about all of us and see contact information, so on and so forth. But Ryan, again, is an organized person, and we've had communications talking about first starting him up in QA with testing out what we're building. And then I've come to find out that he has so much to offer that we explored other opportunities within the company. His communication skills are great. He's a veteran. He is well educated, and somebody that I know has the work ethic that we're looking for and the communication skills that are necessary to execute the position that we needed to fill. So unfortunately, his computer is not agreeing with him right now. We need to get him on the Windows train, or Linux at least. Let's move on though. So our next thing is going to be Kalina. If you could pass me the presenter controls. And Abdur, you could stay on camera. we are going to go through the technical overview.
Thank you, Adrian. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of technicalities that are running on the backend and what we are doing and how we're doing it to make it really secure for you guys and for all the documents that you're gonna interest us with. So I'm sure that you have seen this flow many times in our white paper and on our website. So it's pretty basic working. So I'll try to be more technical, but and also try to explain it more simpler words, so non-technical people with us can also understand what's happening. All right, so they're going to be the first thing is the sign up and or the login. So sign up is going to work in two ways. Um, it's going to be the mobile end. It's going to be the sign up or sign in, then the file that you're going to upload for the encryption. So once the file is encrypted, it's going to generate one encrypted document and a key file that's going to hold the key for that encryption to decrypt it. And we're going to send both of these files to separate IPFS networks that are going to generate the IDs for these files. On the other hand, we're going to get the metadata and send that over to another IPFS network that's going to be private as well. And it's going to generate another ID that is going to be content ID. For that one, so there are going to be 3 IDs. And all of this flow is going to be interacting with a flux node that is going to be the logical node on the back end that's going to handle all the communication within the different nodes and with the smart contracts, and it's going to decide who to let in as a user and what kind of authorization it's going to give to those users. So on the next slide, you'll see about the sign up and the sign in, the way they're going to work. So one of the way is the conventional way, the way you normally sign up for different apps with an email or password. That's about it. And it's going to have a 2-factor authentication. And once you are signed up with us, you can also use your thumbprint to just log in, as you can do with different apps that use high-end security, like banking apps or so. The other way for sign up is going to be the anonymous way. That is going to work on the concept that the blockchain mostly does. That is the public key encryption. That is the type of encryption that is asymmetric, meaning that the keys that we're going to encrypt the data and decrypt it are going to be different. So there's no sharing of the keys or the channel or the communication channel. So the concept behind that is, I'm sure that most of the crypto community knows about the seed phrases, how they work, and they're also called mnemonics. So from the seed phrases, they are cryptographically generated. Cryptographically means there's a proper mathematical model behind those, and there is no way to actually crack those things. So that the mnemonics that can actually be used to generate the private keys, and those private keys then in turn are used to generate the public keys. So these 3 things, they're mathematically linked to each other. They're used for data signature, digital signature of the data as well, with the encryption side of things. So once you are signed up, the sign-in process is almost the same. There's one, the conventional with email and password. The added feature in the sign-in would be, to sign in through the social media platforms. For example, you can use your Facebook or Google or Twitter account to just, sign into the our platform, and it's gonna, create the document vault for you in our ecosystem. The anonymous sign-in going to be with your public address, public key, and the password that you would give on the generation of your account. Now, so how are we going to secure the communication with our backend server or the hosting that's going to be decentralized on the Flux that we're going to talk in the next few slides. So it's going to be digitally signed with your keys, so that it can be verified once we have received the server has received the to and fro the communication with the mobile application. It can be verified. And another thing is that because we are using asymmetric algorithm on the backend, so we are not going to share any kind of keys over the network to make it more secure. So once you're signed up and signed in, the next thing you would like to do is secure your document, obviously. So in that aside, what we have tried to do is use the type of encryption that has been used by the National Security Agency of the States for the past 20 years. A lot of researchers and technical people with a lot of knowledge and processing power had tried to break this kind of encryption, but they haven't been successful. It's called the AES, Advanced Encryption Standard. Why we're using the 256 one is the reason is that it creates longer codes, so they're harder to be to break them. This kind of encryption is actually reversible cryptography. It has been proven mathematically over the years, and there are no proven vulnerabilities within the AES encryption system itself. It is high speed, and it uses low resources. The reason for that is that it's asymmetric. I'm sorry, it's symmetric. I think there's a I misspelled that. So it's symmetric encryption. So the same key that is used for encryption is going to be used for decryption. If you don't have the key, there is no way that you can decrypt the file. The only vulnerabilities that have been exploited by different hackers or the bots or different over the years have been on the side of implementation. If the implementation is poor, it's going to be creating a lot of backdoors for them to to attack on the implementation. So the only attacks that can be done on AES encryption to actually create a backdoor is going to be side channel attacks. So the side channel attacks are not actually done on the algorithm itself. So the attacks are done on the software or hardware implementation that has been done by the team or the developer. So in the next slide, we'll see we'll talk about the communication and how we are going to. So now the file is encrypted in your mobile phone, so we are not going to know that what the contents of those those files are. That's only for you to know, and that's only for you to actually decrypt them. We would not be having any access to the keys or the decrypted file. That all access has been on your mobile phones. So even the decentralized hosting that we will be doing over with the Flux, we would not send anything that's not really necessary for the system to work. All the extra information that is going to reside within your phone. So what it does is that it secures the information to be actually tracked or to be attacked on the via the communication channel. So even that's the case, but still we have tried to secure the communication channel, tried to put a layer of a secure transport layer over the communication channel. That's again asymmetric type of cryptography. You might have heard about the SSL that is used as a standard to encrypt your data while in the communication channel. So the TLS is actually the next standard, the most advanced standard that is now being used, and I think it's the third version that's the upgraded one with a lot more built-in security, and it's also known to be impenetrable. The vulnerability is again on the implementation side, either on the implementation side or on the server side or the hosting side, where all the file system or the data is actually it actually resides. So if the file system is insecure, that's the backdoor. If the implementation is insecure, that's the backdoor. Otherwise, the TLS itself is unbreakable. Okay, so the file, the encrypted file, and the key file that's also encrypted is going to be communicated to our backend that is hosted or on the Flux node. So what we have done is that we have tried to make it as secure as possible for you guys, so that no data breaches happen on that end as well. Also, we do not put any information that is unencrypted or in plain text format, so a human readable format, so that it can be leaked by anyone who has access to that information. Not that anyone is going to have access to that, but still, if there is a backdoor, we're going to make sure that we secure that as well. So on the back end, there's going to be 3-layered security. So first, we talked about during the transmission, we are going to make it secure. So it's going to be end-to-end secure from the client side, from your mobile application to our servers. It's going to be really secured. It's going to be impenetrable on that side. Once it reaches the Flux nodes, so there's a lot of security measures that Flux itself, implements to in order to secure everything that's been hosted with on the Flux nodes. So as Adrian talked about a few minutes back, that about the concept of containerization and the everything we put in an isolated environment, so that no one from the outside of that environment can know or see what's happening within it. They cannot see the data, they cannot see the communication, they cannot see what's being said or done. So everything in that is in containerized in different containers. That's going to have their own namespace in separate network stack. Nobody can actually penetrate in those things. So it's going to have its own control group as well. So the Flux hosting, again, it's containerized. They have their own security measures and everything. It also prevents the denial of service attacks. So denial of service, or DDoS, most of it by the name of DDoS. DDoS attacks are the ones that are used by the attackers to use a lot of systems and sending a lot of malicious requests to a specific server, so that it is unable to process the actual or the actual requests that that the authentic users have to do something on that request something on the server. So it prevents that as well. Nobody can know. There's no specific IP address that, okay, we are gonna attack it like that. So it prevents that as well. So once we have the encrypted files on our backend, what we're gonna do is send them to the private IPFS networks. So the private IPFS networks, again, they're private. Not a lot of people they are not known publicly, to be very specific. And what they receive is encrypted data. That's about it. They do not receive any file or data or content that is not encrypted, or that is not supposed to be out in the open. So they receive two files that are encrypted. On the other hand, as we discussed in the flow, that one of the metadata is also, we are also going to transfer that metadata to the IPFS network, so that there is some public information about that file. It's not public, but to actually see what is being stored in that specific CIDs. So there is going to be three type of CIDs, three separate private IPFS networks. We're going to store everything on those private networks, and they in turn are going to generate three IDs for us, or three locations that's going to tell us, okay, these are the things that we are hosting on these locations. All right. On the next slide, we'll see that what are the next steps within the okay, just give me a second. All
Did I
right.
skip? Oh no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So again, Flux. Flux is going to be our pivotal logic node for the whole Docushield ecosystem. So all the logic is going to reside in this point or node. It's going to communicate with the mobile application. It's going to communicate with the other IPFS nodes. It's going to also communicate with the smart contracts as well. So all the logic that we're writing right now, it's going to go into the Flux. Now, I just explained that it's going to be secured. It's not going to be like centralized hosting where, if the file system is insecure, or there are some backdoors that, attackers can manipulate, or any vulnerabilities within the system or the implementation. By using decentralized Flux nodes, we are going to, remove most of that. I'm not saying that it's going to be 100% secured. There are still we still have to implement a few security measures, maybe a couple of extra ones to be make sure that they're still secure. To make sure again there are no vulnerabilities, no backdoors. So the Flux nodes, they are going to communicate with IPFS. IPFS going to in turn send our node three IDs. Okay, these are the IDs that we are going to, we have already sent our files to. So what we are going to do is put these CIDs, encrypt them, and then again provoke the smart contracts with the metadata and the encrypted all the encrypted data that one file actually generates with multiple and solution. So once everything is encrypted, we put some metadata, some data about the NFT that is going to be generated for that file that you just got secured for with Docushield. And we're gonna provoke the smart contracts. We're gonna say, okay, so we are gonna create an NFT for this encrypted data, and this is the some information that's public. So if you look at the NFT, you can see, okay, so this is the NFT for that specific file or that specific data. That's not going to reveal anything about the user, about the contents of the file. It's just the metadata to identify which file is that. So now we have secured the file, we have encrypted everything, all the data. Maybe some of the data is just encrypted, threefold or fourfold. Again, it just is the most secure way to transmit data over the communication channel that is also secure, to a decentralized hosting that is also secure. And then we are going to again encrypt that to create the NFT. So once we provoke the smart contracts, it's going to generate the NFT, and NFT is going to be able to you're going to see that NFT within your mobile application. Okay, so a few words about PACT. How do you make sure the smart contract language that we are using is secure? If what are the advantages of that using some other blockchain ecosystems? So the most widely used smart contract language other than PACT is Solidity, obviously. So Solidity is actually so I'm gonna if I put it in really simple words, Solidity is not platform specific. So if something is not specifically built for a specific use case, it's going to hold a lot of functionality that's not being used over that specific platform or ecosystem. So what it does is just makes things more complex and it slows the system down, because you still have to process the whole information and everything. Other than that, it's secure. Why is it secure? It's secure because it uses multi-sig wallets and logic, to be very specific, multi-sig logic. So in most of the blockchain ecosystem of the wallets, the transactions of the wallets, they are single sigs. Single sigs mean only the one signature and you have the access. So now with the Pact and Cadena, I think one of the most respectable features in Pact and Cadena is this multi-sig. It works just like the way one of your joint accounts work. Maybe a little bit of added security that if both of the parties sign a specific action, only then that action can be performed. So it's just added security. So it's going to be the logic machine for our Cadena ecosystem. It's going to reside on Cadena. It is going to be human readable. That's also one of the major differences from other smart contract languages, especially the Solidity. So I've worked on Solidity before. It resides on EVM or the Ethereum virtual machine on the blockchain in Bitcoin. So it's not human readable. However, the Pact language, it is readable. I mean, if you just open the contract, maybe you'll miss a few things, but still you can just have an overview. You look at the contract, you read through, and you can realize, okay, this contract is doing something really specific to this type of actions. So all the minting and other NFT operations are gonna be handled through Pact. Doc token and wallet transactions and everything that's related to Cadena and wallets and NFTs and transactions, that's going to be handled on by our smart contracts written in Pact. So I think this is something that one of the most secured products that I have worked on, I have privileged to work with. I have been working in the tech industry with a lot of data, with user-generated data, machine-generated data for about 10 years. And there's a lot of data manipulation, and data exchanges hands. Whether you know it or not, it's going to exchange hands. It doesn't matter if the Google has it, if the Amazon has it, if the Facebook has it. I mean, I'm sure you have seen data, a lot of lawsuits going on over in the US, in the excuse me, in the UK. Excuse me. So that is the reason the world is looking really looking forward to the Web 3.0. And I think if we do this, it's gonna create a really good direction for the standards that are going to come for the Web 3.0. And I truly believe that the data, it needs to be secured. If I generate the data, I own the data, I should be able to decide what I do with it. And I mean, sure, there are legislations, there are rules and laws that we have to follow. Other than that, other than isolated, incidents or the rules, the data should not be given into the hands of someone that we don't know personally. What they do with it, what they can do with it, or what they actually give, who they give access to that data. So that is the whole story of the centralized system. So on this, if we just compare that, it's decentralized, it's written in Pact, smart contracts, they will run on Cadena. A lot of community will have, you guys will have a lot of eyes on it. We'll have, a lot of feedback from the community. They during the testing phase, they're gonna look into it, test it and everything like that. Plus, it's gonna be, a lot of every platform that we're using, all the nodes and everything. It is going to be decentralized. We're not going to save any data that we do not, relate to you guys. As Adrian just has, explained, that we are really trying to be open with everything that we have. that everything that we are gonna use on the back end, again, doing all that, we are going to create a really streamlined, really easy to use, a great user experience for you guys. Because it's not just the tech community who's going to use it, it's also the non-techie persons who are going to use it. It's going to be a really daily, in our daily routine kind of things. So yeah, looking forward for the feedback from you guys. Please just dig in and be brutal about your questions. We would love your feedback, and if we have missed something, please you can communicate to us through different channels that we have. And if we can improve on different things, we will make sure that we do that from the feedback that we get from the community. Thank you. Back to you, Edwin.
Okay, perfect, man. Thank you, Abdur, for that in-depth review about what we're doing. And again, that is even with all that time, that we've taken to overview it. It's still the tip. So, I mean, look forward to our technical paper being released, where we'll go into even greater detail about everything that is going on. So, I mean, we really appreciate you guys joining us and taking the time to be here. Next thing we're going to do is Michael and Jules are going to go ahead and get together the whitelist winners. They're going to see who's here, who is amongst the first people to sign up, and we'll go ahead and get that out. And so while they're working on that, we'll go ahead and take some of the questions. Okay, so we'll just go down the line. In one of your Medium articles, you mentioned targeting the enterprise market and clients. Can you talk about how the markets and those clients would benefit doc holders? So the enterprise solution, just as the solution that we're presenting now, is going to require the doc token in order to operate. So instead of buying them in smaller packages that are going to be offered throughout the doc app, and pretty much if you guys haven't seen the overview of the doc app, we're going to make it very easy to purchase, almost like I was trying to explain to my mom how things work. And she likes going to the bar and or to the restaurant and using touch tunes, and she buys credits on her touch tunes, right? And so the easiest way to explain it was, look, just the way you buy credits in order to operate the jukebox, you're going to buy your credits in order to operate doc and a Docushield and be able to secure each one of your documents. And I think that kind of rang true for that, because we don't want people to say, hey, we don't want to tell them, hey, you're buying crypto, you can swap it out for this if you want, and all this. That's going to make some people's head explode. So really, buy credits, secure your documents, and that's going to translate into the enterprise solution in the same way, except there's going to be contracts behind how much of that token they're going to purchase and what they're going to need. We're going to have to, take an assessment of the business and then understand their needs and then put that into an allocation that makes sense for their specific use. So that is how the doc token is going to remain in the loop, not only for the peer-to-peers, or excuse me, for the business-to-customer solution, but our business-to-business solution as well. So great question. I know a lot of people had that question as well. Both rounds are 25% for liquidity was the next one. Hi, Adrian, you mentioned there was an error. Both rounds are 25% for liquidity, and yes, that is true. So for both rounds of the IDOs, 25% of the KDA that we are taking in is going to be put up reserved for the liquidity to provide out to the DEXs. Again, stability and in the long term is really what we're looking for when it comes to our token. We don't want a document to cost 50 cents to upload one day and then $10 to upload the next day, or a file. So I mean, that's finding the balance between that and the long term is going to be one of our goals. But in the beginning, there's always that rocky path to the upward trajectory. So we'll find that road there. But yeah, the liquidity allocation is going to help us a lot with being able to distribute a set amount towards DEX operations and what's provided there. So can you please talk about the above? Yes, we are doing that. Hi, happy you're here. Awesome. Kalina answered that one. Selena, thank you guys all for being here again. A lot of love here in the chats. Let's go to the unanswered. And this one is going to be for Abdur. So I'll read it for you and you can answer. I'm not a coder, but reading up on Kadena Pax SCL, it seems like it's quite a unique language in the space. Have you found it to be easier or more difficult to learn and code and compared to other languages? Does it offer any advantages and disadvantages beyond its built-in formal verification?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is the question that we get a lot from the community, and I think it's when you compare the PAC smart contract language with the solidity that the Ethereum or EVM has. I think the PAC language, it's a lot more readable than the solidity. I think again, it depends on what kind of background you have in terms of coding or programming language. If you do not have one, I think you are going to find it not that difficult. If we just talk about the language itself, if we go in deeper into detail about the other concepts that it is using to, how it's using multi-sig, what are the other concepts of namespaces and stuff like that. That's, I think, that is where it just gets difficult for people who don't have some technical coding background. But still, if we just really keep at it, I'm sure you can do it. It's not something that cannot be done even without any coding background. The other question, that how does it compare in terms of features? I think that I just talked about that. I compared solidity and that in just my intro. But again, in other than the built-in formal verification, again, it's human readable even on Kadena, even then when it's on the block. It's
that was a question from earlier too, before you had went deep into the PAC language stuff. Yeah, I think you might have answered that, already. Cool, but yeah, no, thank you, and let's keep going. So I would like to ask the plan of Doc for long term. Will the coin have stake features in the future? So this brings up a few surprises that we have planned for the future, for the short-term future. But I want to answer this before giving away anything that we want to unravel, because we like keeping things coming at you guys. One of the big features is, staking is essentially in the beginning going to be how you run the node. You take a certain amount of Doc token, you use that to operate your node, and you keep that stake there. You earn your reward APR on doing so. And for the long term, yes, we need our network there. I mean, the whole thing and the whole reason why we're allocating a certain amount of tokens to partners in the community is because we need to ensure that those at the very minimum of 18 different participants are there and then are going to remain there, because that's the whole basis of how we're operating on this peer-to-peer environment when talking about our IPFS servers. And we're still investigating the proper implementation that would be utilizing Flux and Furo, the private blockchain instance from Kadena. So doing that would also open a whole other slew of people that would need to run those clusters for us. So in the long term, yes, there is going to be advantage towards staking, and we envision a lot of people staking. And later on this month or this quarter, I'm going to introduce another way that you're going to be able to stake and get an advantage from that staking. So excited, but I don't want to give away too much right now. But yeah, in the very future, you'll see another use case for staking the Doc token. Do you have any competitors when it comes to people having file storage solutions? Yes, there's tons of competitors. With when it comes to people taking the approach in infusing Web3 and taking the amount of privacy and amount of security that we're putting into this product, no, there is no competitors. And I imagine that there will be, and hopefully, the approach that we're taking becomes the new industry standard, because everyone's going to be able to benefit from additional security. So at the moment, there's no direct competitors. There is people in the space that are doing similar things to us. Even in the crypto space, there's one or two that we've identified, but still at the same time, they're worlds apart from what we're doing in terms of security and access on the user level and on the enterprise level. And the next question, so thank you again for the questions coming through. Is it secured from spam files? I mean, if there's a bot and a huge load of files coming in, it's not going to overheat or so on. So Abdur, go ahead.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so in terms of spamming the application or the servers or the backend, it cannot work in this case. The reason being that everything is going to be signed by your keys. So the bots are not going to have the access to those keys. So if the files or the data is not encrypted, or I also used a word that a digital signature is also attached to the data that we actually transmit. So the bot is not gonna have that digital signature to verify that kind of data. So our servers are not gonna know that. I'm gonna know that it's not verified data, so we're just gonna ignore it. So for now, I don't see any spamming or bots doing a lot of malicious activity with the app or ecosystem. But if you guys have something really deep insight into technical things that can be looked at from the technical team, please let us know. We can look into it.
Yeah, and to add another point too, to add, we're gonna be charging for per document uploaded. So to have a bot trying to spam the system with uploads is really going to be expensive. In the end, whatever they're trying to do and inject into our service is going to cost them money to do so. And on top of that, as any file hosting software does, there's going to be a whitelist of accepted extensions that we allow. And then there's going to be certain things that need to be put under review before we allow them to be uploaded, a little bit deeper. And we're going to do that in a hands-off manner that is, automated. So, I think we're going to pretty much be able to handle the amount of load that comes our way. Next question. I'm a Docushield email address owner. Thank you guys very much, man. That helps us so much when you guys participate in things like the email addresses. I mean, so much of this stuff just comes out of pocket, and the time put in just comes with the blood, sweat, and tears. So things like that really do help all of us here. So thank you. I really like that your team offers that service. Are there other projects and services that you plan on offering? And can you talk about what may be included in the suite of potential services? For example, is Docushield offering a Google Drive-esque service, including an email service? I know a lot of people would love to secure backups of their digital photos and videos too. So yeah, the Docushield app is going to be essentially accepting videos, pictures, not just documents themselves. We're going to be integrating and using the API of DocuSign of Google Drive to be able to get all the stuff that you guys have there, pull it down to your Docushield account, and then secure it for a lifetime with us. And then yes, we do have big dreams to definitely even offer what Google is doing and replace a lot of the need to go over there. Because internally we still find ourselves needing to utilize some of their services, but there's always the question of, is this secure? Like with their form solution, it's very easy to use, but how secure is that form? We've stepped away from using that solution now, and we're gonna eventually want to offer a solution that is comparable, that we know is secure. So it's going to be an ever-growing solution that we have here, and the document portion and storage is just breaking through, and it's going to be our introduction. After that, I mean, we are going to keep working nonstop on a slew of different solutions that make sense for the end users. So thank you. Next one is almost 80% of investors have just focused on price on token in the short term instead of understanding the real value behind a project. Can you tell us the motivations and benefits for investors to hold your token long term? Yeah. So I agree. A lot of people just wait for things to move, and then they want to drop it on everybody. And that's in anything. That's in stocks. That's in crypto, that's anywhere people want to pull out profits. Now, the real motivation for the long-term investor is going to be for this adoption. I mean, earlier, I think the first section we went through was the market growth over 10 years, was over a 5x. And we're only going further in that trajectory, right? We're not going to take a step back and start storing less data or start utilizing less data. Only, as we move forward, especially with the metaverse and everything coming amongst us, pretty soon it's going to be a real life Ready Player One for anybody who's seen that movie. And, all of that requires extreme amounts and volumes of data that is going to need somewhere to live. And solutions like this that are breaking through and offering something more secure are going to be looked at in the future. So, yeah, as the volume gets bigger and our market cap grows, it's going to inherently, have the token as well be more valuable. Now we have a finite amount of the token that's being released, and we are starting with a very low market cap. Now we're not gonna I can say this throughout IDOs 1 and 2, we're not gonna exceed a $5 million market cap, and that is to give our investors the opportunity to invest and reap the rewards and benefits of being with us from the beginning. And then also because we find that a lot of our value we're going to be able to earn back when providing the service. And so we don't need to take as much of that. Some projects raise $5 to $10 million. Although we can utilize that in marketing, when we provide a service and that service starts being utilized, there's going to be a profit on our end as well that we're going to use to drive the business further, and not going to rely on taking anything more than our initial seed money from the community, and just have you guys as people that are holding and benefiting from that. And so next question. I saw in the white paper that there will be a DAO assembled. Can you give us a bit more info about the purpose of the DAO? So yeah, that is one of the things also covered in the beginning. The DAO is going to help us. It's going to help us with deciding when the tokens are released, where they're going to go. So every year we're releasing, 50 million tokens. Where exactly are those tokens going to go? What are they going to be used for? We're going to be spending, as we approach the last quarter of the approaching year, when the tokens are ready to mint, we're going to put up a way for people to vote on that. And there are a lot of different methods to assemble a DAO, and we'll be taking a look at all of them over the course of the next year and making a decision on what makes the most sense and is easily accessible for our users. And node operators will have a good priority since they're staking, and then also other ways of staking that we'll reveal later are going to have a little bit more of a weighted vote, but we definitely want to watch that to make sure that it's still fair to all of our other holders. Will there be any limit on the file size that can be uploaded? Abdur, do you see a reason right now for us to put a limit on the file size? Because I want to say no, but I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, I mean, for now, we don't see doing that. But in case of huge files, I think it might be a little, it takes some time to encrypt that in the cell phone environment, because you don't know the kind of specification the cell phone has. So yeah, I mean, we can test that in beta phase and see how the feedback is. And I don't think that we have to do that for now.
Something like a movie, we should be able to handle no problem, right? Things in HD, 4K shouldn't be an issue. Now, will there be? Okay, that was the one. The limit size. Will the U.S. be able to participate in these initial offerings? Unfortunately, not. The SEC, I believe, is the reason why we are not able to participate. So, I was telling Mikey, and I was telling my mom even. She was like, "Oh, well, how can I buy them?" I'm like, "You can't. Like, we can't, unfortunately." But maybe with regulation constantly changing in the U.S., we'll be given the opportunity to do that in the near future. Will the Flux nodes be rewarded in the Doc token in the future? So yeah, that is something I heard Dor talking about when he had his his AMA with Flux, or I forget which one it was, but I talked to him personally about it too, and it was just a genius idea that people are going to get dropped mock token in their case, for helping run their infrastructure. And yeah, the node operators, we would love to. I haven't set anything in line yet with Flux, but I'm sure that they'd be open and receptive towards it because it only benefits them, and we would love to reward the node holders. And really, when I talked to Dor about that, and it just kind of was like, dude, that's amazing. That is great. Yeah, why would we not want to reward them? And it just makes people want to participate in what we're doing as well. So we do have plans to implement that. Hypothetical reason, if for some reason you stop working on the project, will I still have access to my files? And the answer is yes. That's the beauty of decentralization and the network that we're building, is that we don't have to keep working on this for it to be living and breathing. The network will still exist. So yeah, and we don't have any plans on stopping working on this. Already so much has went in that yeah, I mean, we can't stop now. Will Doc be open source project? Just like any project in crypto, and anything that needs to be audited and reviewed by our peers or whatever, yes, we will open source the code eventually, and that is on the road of things to do. So we'll have a GitHub, and we'll have a repository there, and you'll be able to see everything. Right now, as we're going into our MVP and stuff, that's up for debate right now. No, everything is held, between us, but we're not opposed to open sourcing anything at all. Hello, happy to listen. Thank you, guys. Zoho difficult. Zoho is difficult. It's a pain. One of the comments is Zoho is difficult. I think it is. It's a pain, but they offer 1,000 different things, which half of them we need. So we're testing it out right now, and seeing how it goes. Are you planning to create a plugin for Chrome or even better platforms like Tempe? I'd be happy to answer that. Yeah, I talk with the guys at Tempe pretty often about the community, about the space, about their ideas, about our ideas, and they're probably one of our closest partners when it comes to who I bounce ideas off of and who we take experience from. Their team is ridiculously smart. It's and they're a wealth of knowledge. So we've already talked about ways to partner up and run each other's nodes to help build our networks. But beyond that, I mean, we're at the beginning of forming just a great alliance and partnership. I feel like, and I'm sure they do as well, because we've had just some great exchanges. And I would love to implement anything that has to do with the Tempe project. As of right now, though, we are hyper focused on building our core, of the platform, which is the Docushield app. Will I be able to share my files with other users? So yes, that is something that's on the roadmap for development, but it's not something that's going to be introduced in our version, in our V1. So sharing, I mean, it's even in the UI. There's a section for sharing, so it will be looked at. But right now, it's going to be outside the scope of our first releases. But eventually, yeah, there is a need to share a document and then let a user see it only once. So maybe burning that access NFT after they view that document once, or putting a time frame on the access so that the NFT burns after a certain date. Now, so these are things that we are constantly, that are on the roadmap, and we definitely want to do. But is it a first priority? No. Is it a second priority? Yes. So, like I said, it's on the UI already, but we're going to get the core functionality behind everything running first, the way we envision it running. How many people are here, mate? We got right now got about 31. I think we've capped out a little higher than that. So anybody still sticking with us, thank you. We had about 120 some sign up, and who are gonna also get to view this webinar later. We'll upload it on YouTube. Question: node machine specs, minimum, maximum for our operating system for preparations. Right now, we are in a phase where we cannot release that information yet because it's going to change. It's going to change, and I can say this though: there will be different tiers. Just as Flux says with their solution, you'll be able to. We don't want to make the barrier for entrance and engagement too high, so there'll be different levels, and the rewards will reflect upon those levels, differently. The dashboard is something every crypto project should have. I agree. Like I said, been investing for quite a few years now, and I've always wondered, why don't they just show us? Like, what are you doing? You say you're going to do all this stuff. Show me, man. So yeah, we're happy to do that, and it's just in our world, it's just regular business standard practice. Being transparent with your investors. There are Ethereum L2s that are providing data storage. Are we agreed to allow for improved scaling for projects within that ecosystem? Does Docushield have plans to bridge to other blockchains and potentially compete in those spaces? Yes. Now, as Cadena has plans for cross-chain interoperability, so does Docushield. And we are dedicated to the solution on Cadena and to being a part of the Cadena ecosystem. So when they are ready and they feel that they, as a platform, are ready to expand into the next ecosystem, which I think is going to be Cosmos first, then we're going to expand into that field as well and follow suit. So as Cadena, on the roadmap, keeps bridging into all these different ecosystems, Docushield will as well. But to the end user, really, I know because we're all crypto-centric here, it means a lot to the end user. It doesn't matter what chain we're on. They don't need to know to have confidence in the solution that we're providing. But of course, we would love to be cross-chain compatible all the way to make things easier when you're working with your wallet, because essentially our app is a wallet. Although to the main public, we're not going to even use the word wallet because we don't want to scare them. Nice project. Thank you guys all for the compliments and everything. Given the current enforcement of actions coming from the SEC versus Library and versus Ripple, has Docushield retained legal counsel to ensure compliance with existing crypto regulations at this point to mitigate the risk of token purchasers and holders? Absolutely. I've been following the Library case very closely, and as well as the Ripple case, but more so on the Library case because I feel it's just so damn unfair. And Library has such an awesome use case, and it's frustrating to see such a great project getting the hammer swung down on them when there are other projects that are useless and not under the rifle, or so to speak. So we are retaining legal counsel both on how we handle our finances and how we even speak about the Docushield token. So that's something that I try to educate myself on daily, and why I follow these cases closely and monitor them and seek that legal counsel, because it's a real thing. But that being, we are in the States, and there are lots of projects that are public and transparent that do reside in the States, and so we're taking legal counsel. We're taking counsel from them as well, and trying to see how these companies are avoiding or working with regulation. But even big guys like Coinbase get put under the microscope, So while the SEC is working all this stuff out, we have to be as transparent and open to any requests that come as possible, while still remaining our how do I put it? Well, retaining that promise to you of your privacy. So nothing, nothing's going to sacrifice that when it comes to privacy. In the States, I would be considered something as like a libertarian. I believe that everybody has their right to be private. I believe that crypto has its place as a currency, but that those are my personal beliefs, and I'll back that up till the day I die. So yeah, and that comes back to my users. So I hope that answers that. That's a very muddy, water to get into, but it's something that's real, and I'm glad people are asking and acknowledging that. IPFS will be on Flux or on Cadena. So the IPFS nodes will be run on Flux. Cadena will be the ones that the platform we use to run our smart contracts. So two different entities, but they're very closely knit together within the scope of partnerships and interoperability between the two platforms. Excuse me. Got a drinking problem there. It seems you are going to run on Flux. Can it hurt security? From what we've investigated, it only helps our security. And I'll tell you guys this much right now about Flux. There's no other platform out there that I've ever worked with that is just so open to answering every one of your questions. And I hit these guys up because I'm up crazy hours, working on this thing and talking to people like in different time zones, and so are they. And anytime there's any issue or any question, Flux has been amazing to respond, and they have the same thing too, where if they don't know the answer to the question that I'm asking, 99.5% of the time they do, but they'll go find the answer. And if so, I love the way they work. I love the team, and it's been nothing but a great experience. And I believe it's the most secure route that we can take. Abdur, would you have any input on Flux?
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as we have investigated, I think the Flux it's going to be secure in multiple ways, as we have talked about in our presentation. And as you said, if there are still some, concerns about the security, it's always good to, the guys at Flux, because I'm sure they have the most, appropriate answers for this kind of stuff. But for as much as we have investigated, it seems fine for now.
Okay, thank you. So the next two look like they're also for you. I'm going to assign them to you. That way you can read them out. Boom, boom, and I can investigate the other ones that are coming. So Abdur, you should have those. You should see those questions, and go ahead, and I'll investigate the other questions that are coming in.
Sure. Okay. So you're gonna use NFT as ID key. Well, I mean, we haven't. We are not at that stage as of yet. But I mean, if we look at in a general scenario, on a on a higher level, maybe more or less sure. So, but we'll have something really specific soon. Once we get into that technical Twitter space and technical paper, we'll have that answer ready for you. That how are we going to use the NFT and the ID that you're talking about. Okay, so speaking of that, yeah, I mean, it's typo. Good catch. It's on my end. It is Turing incomplete to actually prevent recursion exploits, as you have said, because it is platform specific, because it is just built to be, work on Cadena platform for the blockchain backbone. So it needs to be Turing incomplete. So we're not gonna make our SC steering complete for any reason. That was just a typo. So yeah, good catch.
Okay. Why on Cadena? There's a myriad of reasons. Pact is a huge one. And proof of work is the other one. I actually learned about Cadena through going on Gold Shell and buying a miner just randomly. I was looking for a cheap proof of work miner. At the time, it was cheap, and ever since then, found out about the scalability, about the chain web, about just the whole the whole bit of everything that I struggled to understand for maybe a year. Well, I was getting into Cadena and mining it. So there's a bunch of reasons. Security and proof of work, though, are the huge ones, and the Pact technology. Yeah, it's more secure than this. The Pentagon, it'd probably be Pentagon technology. Hopefully, one day we can onboard the Pentagon. That would be quite a win in the adoption curve right there, man. That would be awesome. Technical part is really technical. Yeah, it is. And like I said, I put the puzzle pieces that kind of together, and Abdur is back here trying to make. He's making it all happen. And it's amazing to see it all come to fruition and to see the progress. And we're only going to keep building on top of that. Any VC funds for Docushield? No. All our funding is coming from from the community, from you guys. You know, I'm a small business owner, an operator, and you know, my whole life, like I said, I'm a libertarian. For the most part, I've been against big money, and you know, the establishment. So no VC funds from anybody, and we're relying on you guys to help us make this dream come true. And no matter whether we blow past our hard cap, or you know, we come short of it, that and in the end, it doesn't affect our product and what we put out, because we have this vision and it's going to be executed. So we don't need to go after mass amounts of money when we know it'll help, you know, but we don't need to get on our knees for anybody, you know, and take any money that needs, you know, that expects a back scratch in return or anything like that, you know. So no is the simple answer there. May you please give a use case example of anonymous user and multi-sig? So yeah, the anonymous user is essentially the crypto user, right? So the standard user is more of our Web 2 login. And so I always come back to, I want my mom to be able to use my app, right? So she doesn't know crypto. I talk to her about it and she smiles and, you know, she tells me I'm smart, but that's about it. So I want her to be able to use this, and the way she's going to be able to do that is by opening the app and hitting connect with my Facebook, because she loves Facebook, and that's how she's going to get onboarded, you know. But the rest of the crypto community is going to be able to remain anonymous, because if you take your anonymity that serious, you already know about blockchain tech and you know about the space, and so we're going to provide that same on ramp that you're used to, which is the anonymous version, what we call it, or the wallet version of it. Essentially, they're all going to be wallets, but there's going to be less anonymity, because with the Web 2 type login version, people are going to, if we give people 12 words that they need to say forever, and you know, they're not going to, it's not going to happen. We're going to come across a lot of frustrated users with a bad user experience. So with those users, we are going to need a way to get all their logins back in case they lose them, and help them retrieve those files, because it's not realistic for everybody to be able to use the blockchain tech the way we use it now. So we're going to provide that and make it possible for them to use it without too much worry. Will Docushield code be submitted to third party and audited? Yeah, absolutely. We'll make it public. We'll have it audited for sure. I mean, I believe in the transparency on that front for sure. Thank you. All right, thank you. First off, great job with the webinars. Great way to deliver the presentation. Are you able to confirm the price of Doc Token for the first and second IDOs? That is something that we are going to let KDL announce as far as that, and also the timeline. So when you're going to be able to sign up and all that stuff, we're going to leave that to our peers over at KDL to break the news. But it's going to be reasonable, and it's going to be the market cap we're going to keep low. I can definitely tell you that. If it costs you Doc to upload and it skyrockets, won't it cost more to upload? So that's a great question, and that's something that, you know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about. And so the way we're going to approach this, and I'm glad you asked, because I should have put this in the PowerPoint or in the presentation. The way we're going to take this is, if there's extreme volatility with the Doc token, we're going to avoid that by taking a either 1 or 2 week average of where Doc is at, right? And since when the users come in and they purchase Doc, like they would purchase, you know, TouchTune credits or Robux credits or whatever, you know, we will take the average of that and sell it to them at that price, right? So it's not changing from one day to the next. And whether that, you know, internally, you know, means that we take a hit on a few cents per transaction, whatever, we would probably just play the market to our advantage and sell those off or offload them at a different time, you know. So no, we are looking at ways to keep it from volatility. One, with the tokenomics in the long run, you know, out of 1 billion tokens, only 280 are going to be in circulation, even though only 280 million are going to be in circulation, really, even though we're releasing 500 million. So, I mean, we're keeping a really close eye on the tokenomics. and trying to avoid extreme volatility for the end user, because that's a frustration that'll lead to a bad user experience. Any competitors at the moment? We went over that. Thank you for answering, guys. Thank you guys for asking. We appreciate it. What is the market cap that you will aim for? Now, that's a tricky one, because getting, right now we're putting all of our resources into the development, right? And that's a big mistake a lot of software companies make, not putting resources in development, but not having enough for marketing is where the mistakes are made, because marketing is such a huge part, especially when we're trying to get the audience that we're doing. So that's gonna the market cap, I said, is gonna be under 5 million, and that's what we're aiming for, to stay under 5 million. I want to raise at a max that, and I know that we can do so much. It's not a lot when you look at how much Dropbox and how much Google spends on marketing. It's a it's a hair, of what they spend. But I know that we can, we can manage our marketing to reach the maximum amount of people in that, in that scope, or with that budget. So market cap aiming for under 5 million. I don't even see it being, more than half that. But we'll see where the development and business costs really take us, even though we have an idea and we've done our projections. Yeah, but no, I can definitely say we're not going to raise over that and go to DEXs with more than that. So hope that answers that question. Webinar went well. Thank you, guys. And Stand With Library, absolutely. I feel for them so much, man. And yeah, sorry to. Yeah, so agreed with that. Stand With Library, and hopefully, the SEC can come to senses and see the true value behind the technology, and offer some ways to regulate that aren't going to restrain growth. But I think that's it. I mean, if there's any other questions that are coming, okay, here we go. If you limit volatility, it's beneficial to end users, but what about long-term holders? I agree. If the token doesn't take on value, won't they dump it and endanger the network in the meantime? And yeah, definitely, that's the dance that we're all talking about right now, and you have to play it swiftly. So we're starting with a low market cap because we want all of you who are our investors helping us get started and helping us really bootstrap this to a place where we can even think about approaching a global market. We want you guys to be able to benefit. So our immediate, holders, I mean, yes, we are planning to start low so that there's a lot of room to grow with an upward trajectory as far as price goes. How we're going to approach, I know stability versus volatility is, again, a really sensitive song and dance to approach. I know that I love Stellar Lumens. It's very fast when we're talking about transactions taking place. But I mean, I've been holding Stellar for 5 years, and what are my gains? Not much. So I know the frustration, but I still continue to hold Stellar because I love the technology that they have. And it's just like anytime me and Michael exchange money or something, I just tell dude, buy it in Stellar, send that to me, and then we'll turn it into whatever other currency we want. It's cool that the Zelcore wallet allows us to translate Stellar into a bunch of different assets. But anyway, we're hoping that our utility and the ability to join our network helps with our use case for hodling instead of dumping. But that's going to be something that is evolving over time, how we're going to make it beneficial for the holders, And right now we're thinking about today, but it's going to be tomorrow very soon, So that's something we're going to be looking at. And if you guys have any ideas behind the tokenomics, please reach out, and we're always open to hear what the community has to say. So thank you. Have you started liaising with any tier 1 central exchanges regarding the listing of Doc on their exchanges? Not really talking. I've had an introduction, from members in the community, who we'll be working with and partnering with on marketing and stuff like that, who have introduced us to people in exchanges like BitGet, which is fairly big. But no, I mean, no, we've been focused, and I say we've been hyper focused on developing this product right now. And we'll get to the exchanges when we get to them. But our main exchange right now is going to be Katie Swap. When we launch our token, they're going to be holding it, and they're going to be a place to get it. And any of the other partners in the ecosystem that are launching DEXs, we're going to be focused on the Cadena ecosystem first, and then we'll be branching out to wherever that takes us with the main centralized exchanges. Any estimation of the approximate initial cap? I don't know if that's the cap on the allocation for purchase during the whitelist or during the token offer. But yeah, there's going to be a cap of about, I think we all set when talking with Katie Launch, that a fair cap is around 1,250 USD, because we don't want anybody being able to buy too much, and that's per allocation. So 1,250 is going to be what we set as the per user allocation. Thank you. Really unique project, secure project, distributed network. It's a pinnacle and sense of security. I agree. That's why we built it. So thank you for realizing. It feels good to know that people realize the value behind what we're putting our heart into here. So thank you guys. We'll wait around for a couple any lingering questions. But we are about at that time.
That's
Oh,
the
the
winners.
whitelist. Yes. The whitelist winners. Go ahead. Pass it over to Mikey.
Oh, you
Yeah,
see
we-
my screen or me?
Yeah, we see your screen and you.
Cool. All right. Well, here it is, guys. We got the whole list. I don't want to pronounce anyone's name wrong, so I will be reaching out to you guys too, hopefully through Zoho. But if you could contact me first to just solidify your name as a winner, and I'll give you further steps. I'll just let that lead there for a bit. Let everyone take notice.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be throwing the winners up on Twitter as well, right?
Yes, yes. But this is just for everyone to see right now. Your name is there, you win.
Okay. So we will run more competitions for whitelist spots, and we're excited to have you guys excited. So thank you guys very, very much. It's been a lot of fun. And we will talk to you all very soon.
Thank you guys for attending today.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in. Now, thank you for listening.
See you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Yep.